Oh, what is up, everybody? That's a new sound effect you hear right there. Not the Hump Day Hangout. It's a boxing bell because this is the Gauntlet. We're previewing the much tougher division. You know, we have all four playoff members from last year, and if you have to pick one person outside of those four to be in your division that's going to give you a challenge, it's Billy Cavell, probably the most underrated owner in BHL history. Has won a championship, made at least one other final. I feel like it could be two. I'm not positive, but Billy, strong contender, even though he traded for me, and maybe it's a little bit of a smart strategy to trade for me in a tough division. Hope that I don't make the playoffs. That's one tough out you don't have to make in the postseason. So that could be a smart strategy on Billy's part. We'll have to see.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, JD. This division is insane. I mean, you just laid it out for us. All four of last year's postseason owners are in this division. You got Billy, who's had past success. He knows the taste of victory. And then based off of our rankings of the other division, this is going to be tough. You know, we're going to have a few of the top teams in this division based on our rankings.
I agree. Let's jump right in here to Sterner. I think the goal for Sterner is playoffs again. I know that he made was it the finals last year? He made the finals?
He made the finals.
Yeah. Made the finals against me last year. That's pretty bad. I don't remember who I beat. Maybe that should say something about how dominant my teams have been. But I'm still not quite trusting Sterner as a manager. He hasn't gained the respect in 1 year like Katko did. There's still some question marks for me. I do think he's a very tough competitor, great addition to the league, but he's not in the upper echelon in my mind yet. So I think he needs to make the playoffs again, string something together here. Maybe even a winning season would be fine. And then he's going to be taken very seriously if he can do that.
I agree. My goal for him is also the playoffs. You know, you make it 1 year, you got to make it back the next. On the line for me, is he a one-hit wonder? Is he going to have a sophomore slump? Is he a true threat in the league, or is he just lightning in a bottle? It's all things that you got to think about if you're Sterner. You know, you got to come out and perform year to year. You can't go out and make playoffs, the finals last year, and then come out and take a poop within the league. So
yeah, great
on the line.
Great analysis, very vivid and elegant. But power rankings, I've got him 7th.
That's funny because I also have him 7th.
Wow, we're thinking way too similarly this season. I don't like it. But some notes I have on Sterner. He very well could have the best wide receiver group out of the entire league. Bryant and Hilton are awesome. And Cooks really seems to be making a push to be a top 10 wide receiver. Him and Hilton are both kind of small. So I don't know that the huge touchdown weeks are going to be there like with Dez. But that's a very dangerous receiving group. And I wish the rest of his roster was even close to that.
I agree 100%. I love his wide receivers. Hilton, though, this year, you know, they got Andre. So could that take away from some of his production? Cooks, just being in New Orleans, they have all those weapons. Graham's gone, so that could help him out. But they got Spiller now. And then I love that he has Davante Adams on the bench. Now that Jordy's down, he could be a great addition within that group. So, yes, I love his wide receivers. If they're not the best, they're easily top 2 or 3.
Yeah, I agree. Fun little Davante Adams story really quickly. We have another league that my friend that I used to play soccer with invited me to. And this kid just posts news stories from NFL.com. He just takes the news and posts it to the Facebook group like 5 times a day. Bugs the hell out of me. He'll always share the NFL's news feed posts right into our group. I hate it. Can't stand this kid. But he posted the news about Davante Adams. His team is the worst in our league by far. I don't know if he has – I don't know. He might just be a moron. So he posts this news. His receivers are trash. Posted Davante Adams news, but does not think to pick him up. So 2 hours later, I'm looking – I get the Facebook thing on my phone. I see it. And I say, what are the chances that he didn't pick him up or someone didn't pick him up? I go
Yeah.
on. He's still available. What a joke league. This is like free money flowing into my arms in that league. But, it's kind of nice to be in a league with a bunch of morons, unlike this league, which is about as hard as it gets.
And then
So,
you still go out and win it year after year. So,
well, there's a lot of luck to that as well. But can't mess with success. It's been proven time after time.
it's a habit.
That's true. So the other thing I have about Stoner's team, apart from, first of all, I don't have a note on his running backs, but I really hate Matt Forte this year. I couldn't be more down on a top 10 running back pick than I am on Forte. I like Ivory a lot, but is he really a RB1? No.
No.
And Bishop Sankey, once again, plays for the Titans. So I really don't know how that's going to shake out. And his quarterbacks are two of the more unpredictable quarterbacks going into this year out of any of them. They could both be great. They could both suck.
Yeah, I don't trust Cap at all. That San Francisco offense has looked horrendous this year. So I don't trust Cap, even though he's got, the whole legs, running ability. I still don't think that he'll finish as a top quarterback. Definitely not a QB2. Breeze, I love Breeze. They're going to spread the ball around. I know everybody's saying how they want to pound the rock. That's just not New Orleans. They're going to spread. They're going to throw the ball all over the field. And then his third option, though, are Houston's quarterbacks. Hoyer and Mallet he has. And that's all that he's got. So don't love his quarterbacks. And then, like you said, with the running backs, not crazy about those either, especially whenever Sankey is your third option. That just spells trouble.
Yeah, while we're on the topic of the Houston quarterbacks, have you watched any Hard Knocks?
I've seen clips here and there on Barstool Sports. They always show them. But
okay.
It looks hilarious.
See, like the last season with the Falcons was awful. It was so boring. I don't watch the show religiously, but I watched episode 1 to see if this is a season I should keep tuning into.
Yeah.
And it is great. First of all, J.J. Watt, even though he's like kind of he's overexposed. There's way too much of him out there. I'm tired of hearing about him. Kind of like Gronk, kind of like Lynch, but he's still very entertaining. Bill O'Brien is one of the greatest coaches they could get on there.
I've heard Brian Cushing is freaking hilarious on there.
See, I've only watched episode 1. He's not really on there.
Yeah.
But Bill O'Brien drops the F-bomb like every 3 seconds. But he's also a great dude. And DeAndre Hopkins in the joint practice with the Redskins, D'Angelo Hall was talking so much trash on him. DeAndre Hopkins goes out there, puts a move on him on his route that makes D'Angelo Hall like completely fall to the ground in injury. The trainers had to come out. And there was a big Twitter war going on afterwards. And it was great. DeAndre Hopkins is a strange bird. That is, I can definitely say that. So if you have access to HBO, I think it's good this year. I think actually episode 4, which might be the last one, is tonight or tomorrow. But I got to catch up. So far, so good. I really don't think that either of those quarterbacks are going to be serviceable to Sterner at all.
Nah.
All right, I think that's it. That's all we talked about.
That's it.
Yeah, let's move on to Jay. Jay, I think also just the playoffs. I'd be happy if he strung together 2 good seasons in a row, getting into the playoffs. Because last year's, I was hating on his team all year. I was saying I can't believe Jay's team. I think he was 10th in the power rankings forever, and he just kept winning with this terrible team. All kinds of weird trade things. We could do a whole like NFL Films story about Jay's last season, or an ESPN 30 for 30. And but this year, I mean, I think he's got to really show it again, or he falls right back down to one of the kind of bottom of the totem pole managers in the league.
Yeah, Jay, his goal for me is playoffs. On the line, he's disrespected by a lot of his league mates. I just feel like he doesn't have respect within the league at all. And is it all hype with Jay? Does he just talk like he knows what's going on and then goes out and just can't follow through. But I really like his team right now. I don't know what's on the line. What's on the line in your opinion?
I mean, I think this is a pivotal year in that if he has a good season, he is easily the standout owner amongst all the young guys in the league.
Yeah.
You kind of have two generations, and I don't know, we can call his generation the millennials, which we are too, I suppose. But
Yeah.
he'd be the top millennial manager. He would probably be ahead of Nick Clark if he made the playoffs again,
Yeah.
2 years in a row, ahead of Matvey. And unless Sterner would have an equally great year, he'd be ahead of Sterner.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if he makes the playoffs this season and Sterner does not, Jay would have more playoff appearances in 3 years than the other three guys combined. Matvey,
Wow.
Nick Clark, in 8 combined, plus Sterner's 2.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, but that's the good side. The bad side is if he has a bad year, he could be leapfrogged by 2 or 3 of those guys. And
Right.
like I said, he could be back to the bottom of the totem pole. So
Yep.
this is kind of, you got to string together good years to get some respect in this league. And Jay has yet to string together 2 good seasons. He's only been in the league 2 years.
Yeah.
But you know, this is where the 3rd season here, this is where things are formed.
Yep.
So I have him at number 4 in my power rankings, a shaky number 4.
See, I have Jay at 3.
All right. I think to me, it just feels like this team barely falls short of being good this season. I mean, not being good, being like a true contender.
Yeah.
I'm not. Peyton Manning scares me a little bit. I'm way higher on Andy Dalton than most, but he's still Andy Dalton. You know, you never know with him. Jay's running backs are very interesting. I like Miller. I like Bell. Latavius Murray, kind of the Titans thing. Even though if he's good, he still plays for the Raiders.
Yeah.
Alfred Morris, not really a great PPR running back. He is. Last year, I see he was number 15.
Yeah.
But that's because he played every game. How many running backs didn't play every game that are behind him that were really better on a points per game basis?
Right.
So I really don't know how it's going to shake out. He's going to want to dangle one of those worst 2 running backs, and I don't know if he's going to quite get the return. They're kind of in like the weird spot where I don't want to trade that much for them, but they're valuable to him, not quite that valuable. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work out. And then the receivers are just they're definitely not elite. I like Matthews. Landry, the jury's out for me. But I don't know. The bench options for receiver are not good.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
Nothing.
Nothing there.
So I really don't know. The quarterback situation, too, his only backup is Bortles. I just feel like, you know, if you, instead of drafting Alfred Morris, how about you go get another quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's really tough. If I had Peyton Manning, I would want to make sure I had 2 other good quarterbacks because he has to break down eventually. Maybe not this season, but I mean, one of these years. So I don't know. He really bought into the young wide receiver thing too, with Watkins, Landry, and Matthews all in their second season.
Year. Yeah.
So we'll see. It's not my favorite team. I'm surprised I ranked them as high as I did.
I really like Jay's team. Dalton, he's going to win you weeks, especially paired up with Manning. And then he's going to lose you some weeks just because that's who Andy Dalton is, and we all know it. I love Lamar Miller this year. Murray, I'm not sure about it just because of what you said. He plays for the Raiders, so you can't count on him. And then Morris sucks in our league, but he's freaking Mr. Consistency. You know, he always goes out. He'll finish top 15 in the league, but he can go out and lay you goose eggs. Love his wide receivers. I love Matthews. I love Landry. Watkins, I hate. And then, like you said, he has no wide receivers on his bench. He's going to get Bell back, and that's going to really, really help his team out. Bortles is not a bad QB3. I look to Bortles to have a pretty solid year. But you know me and quarterbacks, I freaking suck at judging them. So that could be completely wrong. But I really do think that Bortles will be serviceable as a plug-and-play quarterback.
I mean, it's not hard to be a quarterback 3. You just have to have some good games.
Yes.
But if someone went down, you would
Yeah.
not feel good about him at all as your
Yeah,
quarterback
as a
2.
weekly option now.
Right, or even half the week's option, I probably wouldn't feel good about him.
Yeah.
The more I look at it, the more I like this team. You put Le'Veon Bell in, and you just have to figure out 1 or 2 receiver spots. Maybe
Yeah.
the rest of the team is already there. So I take back what I said before a little bit. Jay's probably a solid 4. Now, when you say you love his wide receivers, I think you mean for where he got them, like the value.
Yeah.
Because when you compare him against, there's a lot of other
Oh,
stuff.
a lot of other teams have way better wide receiver groups.
Perhaps every team except maybe 1 or 2 has a better wide receiver group. But you're right. I do like the value he got with those wide receivers.
Yeah.
All right, I think we can move on. Let's just briefly touch on my own team. I don't have too much to say about it. Obviously, the goal here is a championship. There's really nothing else to say. I've kind of set the bar very, very high. Although I do have many doubters this season now that I have entered the working world. Life is busy, but that's not going to stop me. You guys are fools if you think that's going to stop me. I kind of came into the draft a little bit less prepared than usual. Usually, I'm following everything all summer. Even if I don't get my rankings done or whatever, I still know what's going on up in my brain. But this year was tough, and I actually think it might have helped me. I didn't try to get too fancy. I simplified things, and I love my team right now. And, what's on the line? Literally nothing. The goal is a championship, but if I don't get it, I've made 4 straight championships, won 3 straight. Big deal. The odds of probability are bound to catch up to me sometime. So it's like the Patriots. If they have a bad year, their fans have had probably 10-plus years of one of the greatest teams ever. So they're not going to be too sad, and I'm not going to be too upset if I don't win the championship.
Yeah, I mean that's a great way to look at it. Your goal is obviously a championship. That's where you've set the bar. It's a yearly expectation now. And also the goal has to be beating your rival. I think that we've really put an emphasis on rivalry week, and I love it. It gives us something to look forward to, and we really set the bar high in terms of rivalry week. Not many other people are catching on to that. Hopefully they do. And the goal is scrotum pull,
We're really raising the bar this year.
Yeah, I wish that you had video right now to maybe give the league a preview. But we'll save it for a later date. It'll create some suspense. It'll give them something to tune into. And then on the line for you, and unheard of 4 championships. I mean, that would absolutely be insane. Probably would never ever happen again. So, I mean, but like you just said, it's bound to happen soon. You're bound to get dethroned. Is this the year? I don't know.
You're right. If 3 championships in a row is crazy, but I feel like that's a tieable record. Like, if we play until we're all old men, someone could match that.
Yes.
But 4, I'm not sure. So if I could really set that record, I could coast for the rest of my playing days. All right, good call. I've got myself at number 2, right behind Polino in the power rankings.
I've got you at 4.
Whoa, that is an insult.
I figured.
All right, well, why don't you go ahead and explain?
Well, let me pull up your team.
Oh, sure. I can go ahead and just say I think I've had the best preseason of anybody.
I mean, things have fallen into your lap here.
Well, wait a second. I made preemptive pickups of Tyrod Taylor and Kirk Cousins, and none of you other idiots did. So don't say they fell into my lap. I mean, come on. Tyrod Taylor I picked up when it was still a 3-way battle, like 2 days after the draft, and I've held on to him this whole time.
Yeah, you're right, and I do love. And now that he was named a starter and seeing him in the preseason, I love freaking Tyrod Taylor. Just the fact that he's going to be able to throw the ball, he's got the wheels. He's going to be a solid option for you if Bradford happens to go down, which is bound to happen because he's made out of glass. And then you.
Well, wait a second. Let's just maybe this is a little too in depth for the division preview. But if you think Bradford's bound to go down, you just handed your rival Mark Sanchez. You had him on your team. You tried to trade him to me, and for Ryan Matthews of some package, and I said, nah, not really interested. Played you like a fool. You drop him, even though I was interested, and I picked that guy up. He's going to be on my bench all year, so I have Chip Kelly's quarterback no matter what.
I'm just not crazy about Sanchez anyhow. And whenever I saw McCown come out, I just had to get a guy that is going to be a starter, from the get-go, because I'm not crazy about my own quarterbacks outside of Eli. So, but yeah, I mean, you have had a great preseason right now. You have Funchess, who is friggin' wide receiver 1 down in Carolina. He's going to get targets, obviously. And then I love your starting lineup. You got Rodgers, who is going to have success. It doesn't matter if Jordy went down or not. Bradford has looked freaking like Mr. Perfect in the preseason. Jeremy Hill is going to get his touches. Jonathan Stewart's a sneaky good play. How he finished last season, if he can keep that up, and now that Kelvin Benjamin's gone down, I think they're going to rely a little bit more on the run game. And then you have Abdullah, who, if he doesn't take over that starting running back position, he's going to get touches. He's electric. He's going to have a few big weeks. But if Bell comes in and he is able to just seize that backfield, that's going to be your only problem spot, because I like your wide receivers. You have Gronk, who just gives you that weekly advantage. That's why I have you at 4.
I mean, you just couldn't come up with hardly anything wrong with my team, and you have me at 4.
Yeah.
I have Gronk and Aaron Rodgers, and I'm at 4.
I like Jay's team slightly better than yours. And then I have Billy, who we'll talk about later, above you as well.
All right. I'm just a little surprised, but it's natural to not rank your rival as high as he should be.
Right. Definitely a little bit of bias.
I've got some Ryan Matthews action where if he's a running back 3, even if he shares, if he gets a third of the carries. So if something happens to Murray, I've got another running back 1.
True.
I've got James Starks. If Lacey goes down, I've got a running back 1. And I've got Ray Rice. He's probably not going to do anything, but if he gets signed by the Cowboys or the Browns and he takes over the Browns job, Ray Rice is going to be a stud, I think.
Nobody's going to sign Ray Rice.
I think somebody's going to sign Ray Rice.
I don't think anybody has the balls to do it right now.
Right now, but once the season starts,
I still don't think. Maybe next year. I don't think anybody can do it this year.
Once the fans are distracted by real football and another news story, someone's going to go in there and snatch up Ray Rice. And I hope I have him then, because I've been considering dropping him when some other juicy free agent pickups were out there, and I've disciplined myself because running back is certainly my weakest position.
Yes.
So, okay, I think that's all I have to say about me. What do you think my chances are of missing the playoffs?
I don't think that you missed the playoffs.
Even in the Gauntlet, the toughest division there is, with yourself, who you should be locking into a playoff spot.
Yeah. I mean, I don't looking at what I put as division winner, second playoff spot, dark horse. It's a freaking toss up with this division. It really is. I mean, I like your team. A thing here could go your way. A thing here, 60-40 that you make the playoffs.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I think most people would put my chances higher, but I like it. I think it's realistic.
Yes.
All right. Let's move on to About That Action Boss, your own team. I'm a little disappointed that you didn't call it That's How Toad Do, because that was my favorite quote from him and Gronk playing Mario Kart. It was, "That's how Toad do." And it was hilarious that Toad was his favorite. I don't know why it was so fitting, but
I honestly watched the video of Conan, Gronk,
right,
and Marshawn Lynch playing Mortal Kombat, and I was trying to find something from that video. I swear to God, I watched it 10 straight times. and I was trying to find something, and I couldn't find anything out of it. I don't know. I couldn't find anything good out of it.
You had to watch the Mario Kart one, man.
I'm gonna have to watch it. I don't think I've ever watched that one.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I really don't think I have.
It might be just with Lynch. That might be the problem.
Okay, that's
It
probably
might
why.
not be with Gronk. Check it out.
I'm going.
Very, very funny. Marshawn Lynch is way cooler than Gronk, I think.
They're both freaking hilarious.
I'm tired. They're like both like AC/DC on the radio. Like, I'm so tired of hearing about them.
Yeah.
Well, they're probably better than AC/DC, but so
Yeah.
I don't know. That bad comparison.
Yeah.
All right. Let's I think your goal is you either need to A, win a championship, or B, knock me out of the playoffs, or out of the playoff spot, or out of the playoffs. Because just making the playoffs is not enough for you at this point. You consider yourself the second best owner in the league, probably the first best, but you really can't argue that you're
Yeah.
so, you think very highly of yourself, and you want to be right up there, but you still need to set yourself apart from the Polinos, the Billies, the Catcos. You put a lot of time and effort into the talk show, into the season. You're the only starting quarterback for the high school football team we've ever had in the league. I mean, your pedigree is right there, but your teams have not lived up to it. And, eventually they have to, or you're just gonna keep floating away from the top.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a few rough years. I really bounced back onto the scene last year, making the playoffs again for the first time in quite a few years. My goal for myself is to beat you, because that's been my one big monkey on my back. That's 2 losses every freaking season. I need to get at least 1 this year against you. If I can beat you, that's like a huge lift off of my shoulders, and I can really focus on some other things. I put a lot of effort into beating you. I put a lot of my energy into beating you.
You should have just drafted for the 2 weeks you played me.
I know I should have. And on the line for me, I like I kind of just alluded to, I made the playoffs last season, so I reestablished a little bit of that status that I used to have in the early infant years of our league, and I need to really keep it rolling and get that one of my, kind of alpha male status back within the league.
Let me just say this. For those of you who have really been paying attention to the video feed, I'm not losing to a kid with a bracelet containing beads with Mount Everest water and
That's going to get me a championship.
And some sand from the Dead Sea or whatever the hell that is. So I'm not losing to this kid wearing his bracelet, because you know what? Your life's balanced out there with all the highs and the one low.
Yeah.
I'm the one low. I am that Dead Sea sand on your bracelet, and I'm there always reminding you of it.
And honestly, looking at this video feed, does this not scare you? Like I'm like it's me, and then you got me over my shoulder just looking down.
I was gonna comment earlier just how hilarious that was. Your backdrop is like you're all decked out. High school football memorabilia. I can't even take it. It doesn't scare me at all, because my fondest memory of you in that uniform was as my holder, which is clearly the best position you've ever played.
Oh, yeah, I was really good at that.
You probably could make it in the NFL as a holder if they signed people for real. Yeah. I think. Never dropped a ball on me.
That's right. Always had the laces away.
Yep, and I don't think I ever kicked your finger, did I?
No, never.
Wow, that takes some true talent. We were a good pair.
Lot of trust here, a lot of trust.
Oh, no doubt. Not so much with the offensive line, but
yeah,
lots with you.
Yep.
All right, so after all that, I'm sad to say that I've got you at number 9 in my power rankings.
I've got myself at number 5.
All right, that's fair. Just the quarterbacks. That's the number one thing right here. I don't mind Eli. I'd love him as a number 2. But carrying your team, he's probably one of the weaker number 1s we got. I think in your coaches poll comments, you were saying something about Odell Beckham, saying, can he do it again this year? Was he like a little bit of an anomaly?
Yeah.
But at the same time, in your comment for yourself, you're talking of the Giants' offense and how it's going to be great. So, I think it's a little bit of double speak here. You have to kind of figure out what you think about Odell Beckham and Eli.
Yeah.
He'll be fine, but and I do buy into the quarterback whisperer with Mark Trestman. That was kind of why I liked Cutler in years past, but the receiving core there is quite unclear. I like Brashad Perriman. I drafted him fairly high. I like Steve Smith, but can he do it for the whole season? I just don't know. I don't really know if has Flacco ever gotten anyone to the playoffs in our league?
I don't know. That'd be something. That'd be
I
something
don't.
to look into.
I don't think so, to be quite honest. The running backs are awesome. You still like Woodhead is your Antonio Brown, except Woodhead is way worse than Antonio Brown. But I mean, Spiller and Gurley, I love those guys on the bench right now. They could both be very good, or they could both kind of be disappointing. I think there's a real chance that both of them end up not really paying off. And after Demaryius Thomas, none of your wide receivers jump out as me as particularly dangerous, but there are a lot of options. Every wide receiver option on your bench, I don't mind at all. I think all of them are serviceable, but it's going to be tough to pick the right ones each week. That's kind of the problem. And why the hell do people still draft Jason Witten?
I don't know. I mean, he's always going to be Mr. Reliable. Him and Romo have all the trust in the world in each other. It's kind of like what we just talked about with me and you. Romo's always going to rely on him. So, I mean, he's not ever going to go out and give me 20 points, but I can count on him to go out and give me maybe 10 in a week, in any given week.
Well, last year he went the first 7 weeks not getting double-digit points.
But he never went out and laid a goose egg, did he?
I mean, he had. Let me pull it back up.
Or I have it up right now.
Yeah, he had a 2, a 3, a 5. I mean,
yeah,
he's reliable, but I think maybe since our league isn't a point for every 10 receiving yards, he kind of takes a little bit more of a hit because I'd rather go for a risky flash in the pan tight end and pick the matchup than I know Witten's reliable when you look at his end of season ranking.
Yeah.
He's so consistent over the course of the year, it's good, but on a week-to-week basis, I would hate to start him personally.
Right.
But I'm glad I told you this after Matt They picked up Tyler Eifert because that's my guy this year. I just had too many Bengal guys already, and I don't really need another one with Gronk. So
yeah.
Anyway, I do like the team, but you really slipped on quarterback and on the bench especially.
Well, to talk about my own team, my kind of thought process going through the draft. I mean, Flacco, everybody hates on him, but he goes out and he'll perform. His weapons might not be the best, but they are solid. Perriman, once he gets healthy, I mean, he's a big guy. Flacco could just throw the ball up, and Perriman will go up and get it. Steve Smith is going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder this year, knowing that this is going to be his last year. He's got Forsett to dump the ball off to. They're going to throw the ball a lot. So Flacco's going to be able to put up, quarterback 2 numbers. I love Manning this year. Whenever I talked about his weapons, ODB, Randall, Cruz, if he can get back and get on the field, Vereen now. Jennings can even catch the ball out of the backfield, so he's got weapons. And then I think that Carr's a great quarterback 3 option. Could be a plug and play, if Flacco has a tough matchup. And then my running backs, I love my running backs. Woodhead in the preseason, if things can keep up how they have in the preseason, he's really been involved. Goal line work, passing down situations. And then Gurley is who I'm most excited about. He has all the talent in the world. I'm just hoping that the Rams don't just kind of ease them into things this season. I hope that they kind of get competitive and they really want to go out and go balls to the walls and just throw Gurley out there and just pound the rock with them. And then Spiller, I love too. I had him ranked as, I think, top 15 going into the draft. So I was ecstatic to pick him up. And then my wide receivers, I mean, Demaryius is a top 3 wide receiver. Edelman is your prototypical wide receiver 2. He's a PPR machine. And then Kendall Wright, and then anybody on my bench, D-Jax, Aguilar, that they're the prototypical wide receiver 3. So I think that my team is lining up to make a run at this thing. If I can make a move here or there, maybe move one of those running backs, Woodhead, Spiller, or Gurley, to maybe upgrade my quarterback or possibly my wide receiver, I think that I'll be sitting all right, But this is going to be a key point going throughout the year. I have to be a good manager here. My team right now isn't going to do it for me. I need to make a move.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that your team is set up to make the playoffs, but it's definitely not set up to win a championship.
Yes.
You're probably going to have to give up a big package to get that quarterback. And the one thing, going back to Sanchez, that could have been your top 10 quarterback lottery ticket. He was last year when he started. I know you just think Mark Sanchez sucks, which he's not that great, but he's in Chip Kelly's offense. So, I mean, that could have been your top 10 quarterback right there if you just stashed him. Josh McCown is never going to be anywhere close to a top 10 quarterback. Matt Castle could get dropped. And
I should have dropped him.
He's still on your bench. And I really don't think that Derek Carr is very good. I think even if he is, he's a year or two away. But it's going to be interesting. You know what I'm most excited for?
What's that?
Rivalry week. Either rivalry week when we play.
Uh-huh.
When DeMarco Murray scores a touchdown or Nelson Aguilar scores a touchdown, and you realize it was all off the golden hand of Sam Bradford. You're going to be so excited only to become so sad.
Yeah.
I effectively have neutralized some of your best players.
Pretty much, yeah.
This already set up to be a great season. I think we need to end this here.
Yeah.
Talking about Billy, the guy that drafted our division, traded for me, really making a run at the upper echelon of ownership for years. He's kind of always been right there since he won the championship 4 years ago. And I think it's kind of a make or break season for him. The goal, I think, is the finals. I don't think playoffs is enough for Billy. And ultimately, though, what's on the line? He needs to prove that he's not a complete dumbass for swapping Jeff for myself.
Oh, man, that's funny. His goal for me is playoffs. I was trying to think today whenever I was doing this at school during my prep period. I don't, in recent memory, Billy hasn't really been a beast, has he? I mean, when was his last playoff appearance? How many years ago?
Well, who played me in the finals 2 years ago? It might have been Billy.
Was it?
You keep talking. I'll look that up.
Okay. Whenever I think of Billy, I mean, he's obviously viewed as one of the better owners in our league, but I just feel like he hasn't been one of those top dogs in recent memory. Mainly, that might just be because he's so quiet and he kind of flies under the radar. So on the line with Billy, I'm going to say that it's respect. I don't necessarily see him as a yearly threat anymore going into a season. He's somebody that you kind of overthink and overlook.
Okay, so, I got the results.
Yeah.
Okay, so last season Billy was 5-8, not good. The year before, I apologized to Catco. That was his rookie year where he made a charge to the finals.
Okay.
Billy ended up in third place in that year. He was 7-6 though, but everybody was 7-6 or worse except Catco. That was the year where everyone was between 5-8 and 7-6 except Catco. So Billy did have one of the better years.
Yeah.
2012, Billy was 9-4, which was really good, but he missed the playoffs, which was really heartbreaking. Tony squeezed in there.
Yeah.
And I was 11-2, so that division was just a juggernaut. Tony,
stacked,
and Billy. It helped that you and Enco both only had 2 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Had to bring that one up.
Yeah.
And then Billy won in 2011. But Billy has never made the playoffs with a record better than 7-6.
Okay.
I don't think. So his championship year was that 7-6, kind of got in there and did work. And then his 9-4 year, the best record, he missed the playoffs. Yeah, so maybe I do overrate Billy.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just that he flies under the radar. He doesn't make a lot of noise. He's so quiet, and I don't know.
So I have him at 3 in my power rankings. I suspect you have him lower.
I have him at 1.
What? Okay, you were just talking down on him so much, and then you drop
Well,
that.
yeah, from like past years and stuff. Like coming into the season, I wasn't like thinking, oh crap, Billy. He doesn't stick out to me because he's so quiet.
All right, I got you. I was just surprised. That's all.
Yeah,
All right, so I think you're kind of looking at what I'm looking at here, where Big Ben and Tannehill could be the best quarterback tandem in our league.
yeah,
They could really make a run at Luck and Romo. I think they're both underrated, on the rise. Tannehill is. Ben's got the best weapons he's ever had. So, yeah, I think that could really be what sets him apart. He kind of waited on quarterback a little bit, and it allowed him to get 2 good ones still, but he also was able to get some good players to fill out the rest of his roster.
yeah. Looking at his team right now, maybe I shouldn't have put him at 1. I do love Tannehill and Roethlisberger. I love Lacey and Forsett. Vereen is a little bit of a question mark. You know, what role is he going to have with the Giants? We really don't know yet. Randall Cobb takes a huge boost with the Nelson going down. Allen, I think he's going to have a bounce back year after last year. But his wide receiver 3 is kind of a big question mark, you know. Charles Johnson, he's obviously very talented, but who knows how many opportunities he's going to get. I love Eric Decker this year. I think he's going to have a great year. Stevie Johnson could be a good option. But yeah, JD, I don't know. I don't know if I like him at 1 anymore. I mean, definitely top 3, but
See, I think his receivers are much better than you gave him credit for. His
yeah,
bench receivers are awesome. Decker, John Brown, you've failed to mention, but if Michael Floyd doesn't get back soon,
yeah,
that could just give John Brown even more of a boost, a better rapport with Carson Palmer. He
right?
was awesome in his rookie season.
Yeah,
And then he does have Stevie Johnson, and if Latimer somehow gets a top 2 wide receiver spot,
mm-hmm,
one of those guys in Denver gets hurt, that's an automatic plug and play.
yeah.
I think Kelsey's a great tight end,
Oh, yeah, great
uh,
option.
for sure. So my concern with this team is the running back position. Forsett is old, and he's honestly was never good before last year. Like
Yeah, that's true.
so many teams and coaches just had him and passed on him. They let him go. He wasn't really anything special. He's really slow, and I just don't know. Kubiak was kind of the leader behind his resurgence, that zone blocking scheme. And I know Tressman brings even more reception potential,
Yeah, that's my thought on it.
but I just feel like Forsett, if he doesn't get hurt, he has to regress a
Yeah.
little bit. He's definitely not going to be the number 8 running back again, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But awesome move by Billy to grab Javorius Allen.
Yeah.
I was very close to drafting him. I was pretty upset when Billy did. So that's very important. He handcuffed him. He has Coleman and Duke Johnson, both of whom could really become great starters. So I don't think his running back position is bad. I just don't think it's a strength.
Yeah.
And
I agree. I agree with all your points.
And pretty much the same with wide receiver. It's definitely not bad. It's probably a strength, but it's not elite.
Yeah.
So my question with Billy is, if he screws up this great roster that I think he has, you put him number 1. I've got him number 3. If he screws it up, I think he really does take a big fall in our eyes as a manager. And also, even if his team does okay, but I push past him for the playoff spot after he picked me to be in his division, then I think he also takes a big hit.
Yeah.
As much as I like the cojones, I mean, you gotta be smart too.
Right.
So, and if I picked me to be in my division, I'd be talking so much trash right now.
Mm-hmm.
If I were Billy, you made the bold move. Speak out.
Yeah, I mean, he has literally all the pieces. We just talked about it. He's got depth at different positions. He's got not a great, but a good starting lineup. So a few moves, he'll be sitting really, really pretty. Hopefully going into the postseason. So Yeah, if he screws this one up, kind of like Nick Clark. Nick Clark's got a good team right now. If he's going to go out and screw it up, you lose a lot of respect for him. Same thing with Billy. He's got a great team right now. If he can go out and screw that up, well, he's going to look really, really bad and lose a lot of respect real quick.
Yep, completely agree. And one final note that's interesting that I was kind of just talking about. I just noticed that me and Billy play in week 1. So he
Ooh.
has a chance to drop his sack on the table right away and try and, take down the reigning champion.
Yeah.
And he's got some good quarterback matchups there. I'm a little bit concerned.
Yep.
He also has Randall Cobb, and I have Rodgers, so I don't really like that he's canceling out some points there.
Good point.
But yeah, the Gauntlet it's going to be a wild ride this year. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I forgot we need to do the wrap up with the picks here.
Yep.
Division winner. I got Billy. I don't think he's going to mess it up. I think he's going to be just fine. And it's going to end up being a great playoff race here if Billy can make it in with the 1 seed.
I agree there. I got Billy as my division winner as well. I mean, I kind of just laid it all out for you why I think that.
All right, second playoff spot, I have myself. I don't think I'm far behind Billy. I think my quarterbacks could really challenge his. And I think my running backs challenge his if they're healthy. My receivers, I think, could very well be better. So it's interesting. I think maybe Gronkowski and just my overall confidence in myself sets me apart.
For that second playoff spot, I've got Jay.
What?
I've got Jay. I like his team right now. Depth could be a concern, but I feel like he's going to make moves. He's just too active, so he's going to make something happen. So I've got him in the second playoff spot.
When Jay made the playoffs last year by luck, not by managerial moves. He probably hurt his chances by trading you Tannehill. And he traded for Woodhead and Matt Asiata. So, I mean, I don't know where you're getting this confidence in Jay, and I don't think his roster stacks up. So I'm a little bit confused that you're picking both yourself.
You're just salty right now.
Well, I'm confused because not only aren't you picking me, you're not picking you.
Yeah.
So, interesting. My disappointment is Jay. I think he's going to find some way to screw this up because his team is just going to be just underneath what it needs to be all season, and he's going to feel the pressure to make a move. Jay is probably one of the most stubborn owners in our league, aside from Matt Bay.
I don't disagree at all.
So I just think it's going to get him in trouble. He doesn't take enough chances. And, say what you will about me, everyone thinks maybe I'm a little bit of a mastermind when it comes to trading or pickups or whatnot. I put some shit on the line, and, it's not always guaranteed to work out. I've just gotten lucky enough that it has.
Yeah.
So, you got to make a move to win the championship. I think probably every year we can take a look at a big move that the championship owner made. And I'm not convinced that Jay's going to do it.
This one was very easy for me. Disappointment is obviously going to be you because you can only go down. Like anything other than a championship is going to be a disappointment. This was a no-brainer for me. You're the biggest disappointment. I mean, you're not going to win it again, so it's going to be a disappointment.
Oh, just adding fuel to my fire, the last thing you want to do. Not a wise move on your part. But thanks for that. Thanks for giving me Sanchez. You're probably more valuable to my team than I am at this point.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the dark horse. Who do you got?
I've got myself as the dark horse. A lot of owners, right during the draft, after the draft, really talking down on my team. But I mean, we just kind of talked it out, and I think that my team has the potential to really make a playoff push, and with a move here or there, make a run at the title. So definitely have myself as the dark horse.
All right, I've got Sterner. I think I'm not a fan of his running backs, but his wide receivers are so awesome. Greg Olsen might be the number one target for Cam Newton now, so I like the tight end. And I think it all comes down to his quarterbacks. If they're frisky, if they can compete with other people's quarterback pairings, then I think Sterner's got a good shot. I think he'll figure out running back. And yeah, he's got to be my dark horse because we've hardly talked about him at all as competing for the division. But I think he deserves a mention.
Yeah.
Moving on, we've got worst team, and talk about a no-brainer. I've got you. I've got you. Joe Flacco's in your starting quarterback group. I think you're way too hyped up on these running backs here, and something's going to let you down along the way. And I don't know if you're going to make a move in time before they just trash their value. Maybe you can pawn off Woodhead on an unsuspecting victim, talk him up about how great he is. But ultimately, your quarterback situation is dire. If you're really going to get a good one, you're going to have to give up a lot, and that's going to weaken the rest of your roster. It's going to be a fine balance, and I'm not convinced that even if you do everything right, I'm still not convinced it would work out. You definitely have a shot, but I think I'm not sure that it's as good a shot as everybody else.
Wow. I don't know. I don't know about worst team in the division. I'm giving my worst team to Sterner. We kind of laid it out before through our analysis. Not crazy about his quarterbacks. I think that Flacco is a better option than Kaepernick going into this year. Forte, Ivory, Sankey, running backs are shaky. Wide receivers, I love his wide receivers, but wide receivers in our league are the least important position. So I got Sterner's worst team. I think he's going to be a one-hit wonder here, but we'll see.
All right. That was a great division preview. Can you hear that motorcycle just ripping past my house?
It's been blowing out my eardrums.
Oh, man. So that's a great division preview for the Gauntlet, and I think it's going to be a great year. Thanks to everyone for joining us for the division previews. I'll make sure to get my video working for next time, I hope, so you don't have to look at Bajam the whole time. And I think the goal is to get one big season preview show, kind of more fun one, less planned perhaps, and hopefully get some guests on board before the season gets going.
Yeah, that would be really neat if we could get like a huge preseason party show, like just everybody on, just talking smack to one another. That'd be pretty neat.
Definitely, maybe some some guys that we wouldn't expect to jump on,
Yeah.
like a Polino, a Jeff, Billy's internet I don't think is very good, but
right. And if maybe Donna Cable could get on, give us a little strip tease. I don't know.
Oh, this is on the internet forever. That's not true. It's a private video, so unless somebody shares, we're good to go.
That's fine with me.
But the pictures out here of Bajam with the background is high school. This is like from a comedy movie. Like, I see like Seth Rogen coming over to your house right now or something. All right. Anyway, we'll see you guys later. Let us know what you think about what we said about your terrible teams. And, yeah, good luck this year.
See you guys.